everyone. I'm Dr. Brandon Thomas. I'm an associate professor of psychology at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. And more importantly for this message, I'm also the president of our local teachers union, UW-United, which is a local affiliate of the American Federation of Teachers in the state of Wisconsin. We're a union that is eligible for any academic related staff on campus. So we have members that are faculty. We also have members that are academic staff, but I'll address that a little bit later in this particular address. I wanted to tell you a little bit about our union, introduce you to our executive committee, and then tell you a little bit about our priorities as an organization. I'm the president. Our vice president is Dr. David Simmons, who's also the treasurer for AFT Wisconsin's executive committee. Our recruitment director is Dr. Andrew Nine. Our treasurer and record keeper is Dr. Adam Paddock. And our stewards are Dr. Veronica Soria Martinez and Dr. Julian Grayer as well. So hopefully you'll meet some of us at some point when we go around campus and do office visits. You might have already seen a few of us doing that. And hopefully you'll see us again on March 17th is the next time we plan to go around campus to talk to existing and future members of our union. The first thing I want to make sure that everybody understands is that we are legal, so unions are not illegal in the state of Wisconsin. It is the case that we are limited, because of some union busting efforts in the state in the early 2000s, Act 10 was created, which strips away a lot of the all of the collective bargaining rights of most educational entities in the state of Wisconsin. So we're allowed to exist. We have all the rights and responsibilities of any union. We just don't have the collective bargaining rights at this moment. So all of our power comes from our members. It's all organizing and people power, which is the reason why getting involved with us is a really important thing. So I'm also a founding member of our organization. I was originally our recruitment director when we first formed in the year 2020. So last year we celebrated our 5th anniversary as a union, when we started, it was because there were some pretty scary threats that we were getting about our programs on campus. In the summer of 2020, we found out that there was a plan, I think it was actually the spring of 2020, that there was a plan to close 25 to 50% of our programs on campus, which would have been, of course, devastating had that have happened. It's happened at other UW system campuses where they've eliminated a bunch of programs because of funding deficits is usually the excuse that they give, even though we're supposed to be a public institution that's funded by the state based on our needs. So we oftentimes are treated as if we're a private institution where we have to get rid of people in order to make sure that we meet the budget of our campus. And this is one of the strategies they use to kind of undermine our power on our campuses. In that process, we organized a ton in the year 2020 to 2021. We ended up being able to prevent those changes from going into place, so there wasn't a single program that was canceled as part of that effort, largely because of our organizing work that we did on the grounds. If not for that, then at least some of those changes would have definitely gone into effect. We did lose a ton of colleagues in that academic year. A lot of people took early retirements and other things as well. That's meant that a lot of people that we knew before that ended up leaving. But we did prevent some of the biggest changes that could have really hamstrung our university from going into effect. Then, since then, we've been fighting on a lot of different fronts. So we continue and have for a while fought for fair and equal pay on our campus. There's a gender pay gap that exists amongst the faculty and staff ranks at the university, which is pretty unacceptable. We've been, pressuring the individuals in the administration and in the state to try to rectify this for a long time. One of the other issues is salary compression as well, which is another thing that affects people after they've been here for a bit. Those are things that we have continued to fight for, both directly with the administration and through some of the governance groups on our campus as well. We have also fought to protect academic freedom on a lot of fronts, so there's been several attacks to that over the years when it comes to our ability to take ownership of the work that we do for our employers. For instance, there was a free speech survey that was sent out a few years ago that was obviously meant to try to support the myth that we as faculty and staff at universities are indoctrinating students, the idea that we suppress political viewpoints that are opposite to our own was what they were trying to illustrate with that survey, and we organized against it. It ended up happening, but the effects of it have been limited for that reason. We definitely preempted that effort quite a bit through our organizing. Our particular local has been leading the effort to defend DEI as well, which is another way that our academic freedom is oftentimes attacked by telling us the topics that we can and cannot research, or the individuals in our campus who we can and cannot try to support. And that is something that we've done by interacting with the press, by putting pressure on the Board of Regents, by having conversations with administration and governance groups on campus. That is something that we've continued to lead on here in the state and at UW-Whitewater. We've also fought for the copyrights of faculty and staff and academic workers, is a better way to say it, in the state of Wisconsin. Originally they were essentially trying to take away our ability to own the course materials that we create, which would have been obviously something that was an academic right that would be taken away from us, but also creates the potential for being able to hire someone at a lower rate to teach our classes with our materials without actually paying an academic expert to do so, which would also be very damaging as well. So that's something that we've won that fight once, and it's sort of resuscitated a little bit with a new policy that they've created, but we have definitely stopped some of the more dangerous aspects of that from going into place, which is something that has gone into place in other places around the country. We also have done a lot of community and political organizing work. We're a nonpartisan organization, a small D organization, democratic organization, but we do support individuals that run for relevant seats within the government based on whether or not they support our own efforts. So we don't endorse candidates on the basis of the party that they belong to. We do so based on the platforms that they're running on. And we've been very successful in organizing with political candidates and also with endorsing them as well. So we endorsed Representative Breanne Brown, for instance, who we did a bunch of events with, like a tailgate, for instance, is one of the things we did. And she won her election a couple of years ago for the state assembly. So she is currently representing many of our members at the state office. We endorsed Councilman Steve Sayun, who won the Whitewater Common Council seat last year as well. And so we have endorsed also school board member, Miguel Aranda, who won his election for the Whitewater School Board and is also now running for U.S. Congress, U.S. Congress District 1 in the state of Wisconsin. And so we've endorsed his campaign there as well. We do a lot of events with these individuals. We've done protest events, we've done town hall events, all sorts of things like that to try to help make our community a better place to live and our campus community a better place to work. We have a ton of community partnerships. So we've worked with the Planned Parenthood Association. We've worked with the League of Women Voters. As a matter of fact, we have a voter registration table March 16th through 18th from 11 to 1 p.m., 11 to 12:30 on that Tuesday, where we're going to try to get campus community members to register to vote on campus, which ends up being a pretty positive thing. So stop by the University Center during those times to come say hi to us. We've worked with the Immigrant Support Coalition in town and continue to collaborate with them, and also Voces de la Frontera. We've also done protest events with the Women's March in town as well, among other organizations. So that is something that I'm very proud of, the community partnerships that we have, and they continue to allow us to have a voice not only at the university but in the greater area here, including the city of Whitewater. We also have built relationships with campus entities, so we have normalized relations and meet regularly with Chancellor King and the administration. We're actually the only local in the state that is able to meet with their administration. We have fought statewide to try to get union recognition so that every local can at least meet with their administrations and have a seat at the table, because we currently don't have CBA collective bargaining rights. So because of that, it's a really important effort for us to be able to have some sort of conversations with our bosses, and we have cultivated that at UW-Whitewater. We also have strong relationships with faculty senate. Many of our members are senators, and so we have a relationship with the academic staff assembly and also a number of student organizations that we've built over the years. So all of those partnerships, those relationships are very important for building power on our campus. Currently, the things that we're working on at the moment, one of our priorities is campus safety. So we want to be able to make sure that individuals are safe in our communities at a time when particularly the federal government is threatening and sometimes removing a lot of our rights. We want to make sure we protect the most vulnerable individuals in our community, and that includes migrants. So we are working to meet with administration. We will be next month, and we're later this month meeting with the campus police departments to try to figure out what sort of protections are in place for individuals on campus, and to advocate for using any tools that we have at our disposal to protect individuals on this campus should there be any sort of threats to campus safety. So that's a big priority for us. We also, for the last couple of years, have been advocating for the adoption of the faculty layoff policy. I'll put our petition for that in the comments of this video. There was a faculty layoff policy that the Faculty Senate approved, I think it was a couple of years ago now. It's still being negotiated with the Chancellor, and we're calling on the administration to accept it in its full form, since it's already been approved by the Senate. This layoff policy would add a number of protections for individuals. Oftentimes, the way that we get removed from our positions is by eliminating our programs, which is what they tried to do in 2020. And then there's very few protections for faculty faculty jobs once they do that. So it adds some protections for program closures, and it also gives a lot of off ramps to keep individuals employed if their programs get closed or if there's movement that takes place in their position, and it also puts into place a longer timeline for the process, so that there aren't any steps that are skipped to try to ensure the employment of the person who might be being laid off. So these are all really important protections for the faculty on our campus, and we'd appreciate it if you signed on to this petition so that we can make sure that we have the strongest possible faculty layoff policy. The other big issue that we've been organizing around is the fallout from Act 15. That was a bill that was passed this past summer in the state of Wisconsin, and it required a couple of different things from us. One of them was changes in our general education curriculum across the state, across the university system, where we would all have really similar gen ed requirements. That was meant to address what was explained by the state's legislature as addressing a problem with credits transferring across the UW system. However, that isn't actually a real problem. There's only about 2% of students that have trouble transferring within the UW system. So they essentially used it as a way to curtail our curriculum on our campuses. Most of us all have less general education courses that we're able to require for credit because of it, and it also stripped away our diversity requirement at the university level. These are all just ways to kind of try to curtail our academic freedom, and to also harm the ability that employees have here to be able to do their job and teach students the things that we know that they need to learn about. So that was a huge thing that we organized around. We had a resolution that we were able to pass a version of in faculty senates and other governance groups in more than 10 campuses, including our own. Our faculty senate passed a version of this resolution opposing the general education changes, and we also advocated with the Board of Regents not to adopt these changes. And while they ultimately did adopt them, some of our efforts did, we think, water down the process so that we didn't lose quite as much as we otherwise would have. But that is something we are continuing to monitor the fallout of. The other element of that, the shoe hasn't even completely dropped quite yet, which is the workload policy. That could potentially require individuals to teach more classes than they otherwise do. This workload policy seems to come from a misunderstanding about the diversity of our workload requirements that we have, where it's not all about teaching for us. We also do research and other service-related things. So this workload policy potentially causes us to not be able to do our full jobs and puts unnecessary restrictions in our way from being able to do it. So that's another thing that we've opposed and we'll continue to fight against, and we will continue to try to learn more about how it's affecting our campus community. I've talked a little bit about this. I won't go into too much detail because we actually are able to meet with our chancellor, but we've been advocating across the state as well for the Board of Regents to adopt a union recognition resolution, which would, in effect, make it possible for every local to be able to meet with their administrations. Again, that's something that affects us a little bit less because we do have a good relationship with administration and meet with the chancellor every semester. But it is something that's really important for the states because they're currently engaged basically in union busting and preventing us from being able to advocate for our workplaces with our bosses, which is something that we should be able to do even if we can't collectively bargain. Finally, the thing that we're working on the past year or so is expanding our union rights to non-academic employees. So that would include not just instructors, but other staff people on campus, like department assistants, for instance, or people who work in academic affairs or things like that. We haven't quite made that change yet because we're still trying to get more individuals who would benefit from this eligibility change to get involved. So if you're a person that is an employee on campus but not an instructional staff person, then definitely reach out to me. We would love to make this change and expand our union rights to a majority of the employees on our campus outside of instructional staff. We have plenty of stuff going on. We have happy hours every Thursday at Second Salem from 4:30 to 6 p.m. That's a great way to get to know us and to get involved with stuff. We have membership meetings once a month as well. The next one is next Friday. So whether you're a member or not, you can come to one of those to see what we're all about, which is definitely a good idea. We'll be doing office visits once every month this semester. We did one and probably saw a few of you in February. We're going to do another one hopefully on St. Patrick's Day is the idea. So we should be coming around to talk to you a little bit. And the thing that I want to make sure that I emphasize to y'all here is that our power comes from our members. We're a small d democratic organization, so we are completely member-led. That means that all of our power stems from our membership, and all of the ability that we have to make our workplaces better relies on having the most possible members that we can. So I definitely recommend getting involved with us. You don't have to be an active member. You can even just do things like sign a petition every once in a while, or come to a happy hour when you have some time, or things like that. But there's also no limit to the ways that you can get involved. So we try to empower people to lead within our organization. So even if you're not on the executive board, there's chances to lead efforts that are important to you. And our priorities as well do not exist without our members. So we need to be able to work on the issues that our members care about the most, and in order to do that, we need you to get involved with our organization. So I'll end this now. I'll include some links like to our website and other ways to get involved with us in the comment section, and thank you for your time, and hopefully we'll see you around campus.